What's up, good people? Should we talk about Tiffany Henyard? Should we talk about the Supermayor? People are getting upset. I'm calling her Tiff Tiff too often. So we're not going to do that. No more Tiff Tiff. I mean, maybe just a little bit. Yeah. So new story came out yesterday. This is from, let's do this one. This is from Ben Bradley, WGN. I'm a whistleblower. Trustee turns on Tiffany Henyard. So this is yet another one of Tiffany Henyard's associates on the Thornton Township that has, for the most part, been pretty silent and been fairly supportive of Tiff Tiff. But she's been doing a little bit of pushback. She's been doing a little bit of that pushback. So here's a special meeting that I want you to watch from August 15th. So, not that long ago, but this is where the cracks were starting to kind of really appear. And this little section right here is what I found super interesting. Let's tee this up.
But the thing and the question is, you walk around as if you don't do anything, you don't make any decisions. And the first time I ever really questioned supporting this is when you went on this national platform and you said you didn't know anything about a foundation. But you forget that I was in certain rooms when certain things happened. And,
So remember that. She went on a national platform. We're going to watch that video. She went on a national platform and basically denied her charity. What charity? And remember the charity. Yeah, you remember the charity. Okay. And so she's going to continue talking. This is Carmen Carlile. She was the assistant to Tiff Tiff for, let me get my yellow pointer out here. She was assistant for a couple of years, and she is calling out Tiff Tiff here in this meeting and basically kind of laying the foundation for what she just basically emailed to WGN yesterday. And it's yet another one of Tiff Tiff's Supermayor's former folks that were supporting her, board members or trustee members that were supporting her or weren't outwardly going against her. And now they are. And so the Supermayor is calling Carmen Carlile, lying Carmen Carlile. I mean, I don't think she is.
Again, I always try to be tactful because, again, I don't like going back and forth. I don't like being center of attention. I don't like all this. But I don't like to feel like I'm being lied on. I don't like to feel like, we're not telling the truth. And the reason I don't support you is because you were not honest about that foundation. I was in the room when it started. And then you came to my house after that unannounced and tried to get me to say somebody else started that foundation that did it. And so,
all right.
Okay. I know it's hard to hear. I've got all the volumes up. It's just recording volume on the audio of this video. It's quiet. So what she said is, you came to my house. She's talking to the Supermayor. You came to my house unannounced and you tried to get me to say that somebody else basically is running your foundation, or it was started by somebody else, trying to get Carmen Carlile to recognize that Tiffany is not the founder and operator of Tiffany Cares, which is crazy. It's just like, just tell them I'm not involved. Literally, that's what she's doing.
Okay. Yeah, so you're trying to say anything about me not supporting for somebody else. I don't support you because of you. I don't support you because, again, you act like you don't make decisions. You make every decision, and maybe you didn't execute it, but I was there. I was your assistant for 2 years. So you sit up here week after week, you sit up here month after month and pretending. And I've been kind to you. I've been patient, and I'm going to continue to be that way. But, for you to get up here and say, I'm not supporting you any other reason because of you, it's wrong, because I don't support you because of you. Not for Freeman, not for anybody else. I don't support you because you're not honest.
You're not honest. So Tiffany, Supermayor, starts to kind of go down this road of, she was trying to do a little bit of pushback there, but then she kind of just bailed and said, all right, let's get down to business, because she knew she wasn't going to win that battle. So I found during that meeting, the statement by Carmen Carlile to be very organic. Like, she's just stating it the way that she sees it. And this is what it looks like. And, she's as close to the supermayor as probably anybody here in the, except maybe Chris Gonzalez is my guess. And that's the guy that basically nominated her for this position, supervisor of trustees. But okay, so let's go to the next step, which is Carmen Carlile just called her out for going on a national platform, and that is the Roland Martin Unfiltered show. So let's watch this clip because this is wild stuff.
Right. I don't have a foundation. I am a supporter of anybody that's struggling with cancer. My mom had breast cancer, and I'm always push anybody that has that. If someone uses my name to push their charity, or if you say this is Tiffany t-shirt, people gonna buy it. Because right now I'm considered what? Clickbait. People make money off of my name by views. So you just say my name.
You say you don't have a foundation.
I do not. And that's why I tell everybody, go do your research. I'm not on anything.
So I've done my research, and it didn't take me that long, and I'm in Seattle, but I know this storyline, and there's all this evidence that online, and we're going to watch it in not too long, that indicates, no, Tiff does have a foundation. It's called Tiffany Cares, and she did a walkathon, and she produced a video, and it's all over her sites. So you can't just throw out stuff in the digital age and not expect people to call you out on it. It's like, I feel like these older politicians, Biden just says stuff. My uncle got eaten by, my uncle got eaten by cannibals in the Pacific in World War II. and people look it up. No, that didn't happen. But anyway, we're going to go with your story. Somehow there's this massive disconnect with Tiffany Henyard, the supermayor, in which she believes is if she just says this stuff, that people are going to believe her. Now, what we're watching here is the end result of her hiring a PR company to come in and basically say, all right, you need to do some rebranding because you've got some really bad publicity going on associated with your name. So we need to remake you. So that's this stop here on the Roland Martin show is what she is trying to basically get the good word out on Mayor Henyard. And part of that is disassociating herself from her charity, which she started. Her name's all over it. And a big check came from the Township of Thornton to get that bad boy going. So let's keep going.
So when we see all of this back and forth, when we see this is going back and forth, have you, and I've seen this happen before with school districts. I've seen this happen before with city councils. Mm-hmm. Have you called in the state to come mediate?
Did I call in the state?
Have you reached out to the state to come in and mediate what's going on here?
So Tiffany's wheels are spinning. She's trying to work out how she's going to answer this question. So she asks him, and it's a great redirect. She asks him the question again and then gives her time to think her way out of how am I going to get out of this one? Because he's saying, hey, if you've got a charity that isn't associated with you, you've got something going on that you should be able to get the authorities involved in. And so at this point, the supermayor is like, okay, all right, we got to think about this for a split second. And she does a good job, but her end result is, what? No, she just loses credibility.
Here. So I've seen school boards where you have lots of drama, and Texas Education Agency, comes in and deals with that. You're having these issues there. Have you reached out to state lawmakers? Have you reached out to state representatives, senators to say, hey, how can we resolve these issues? Because if they're not paying bills, if legal fees are piling up, that's just more taxpayer money being spent.
Correct. And yes, we have. So maybe 2 people might have reached out to us in the beginning. We was doing kumbaya. We was having meetings. And we was
2 people reached out to us at the beginning. But from where? Who? Why would they reach out to you? Why would they reach out to you? I mean, just every single step that is taken by the supermayor leads to just a bunch of nonsense, a bunch of fake truths. How's that? it's not even believable. And if you do just a little bit of due diligence, like the the supermayor recommends, you come up with this stuff and you're like, no, I don't think so.
Talking about what we have an issue with one another. The sad thing is, it just reminds me of high school. It's just a he say, she say thing. Well, I don't like you because of this, or I don't understand this. It was more of that than basically taking care of the business of the town. We got elected to serve. That's it. We didn't get elected to make sure we like one another. And that's why I get upset with people that are in government. I want them to put their difference to the side and do what's right for the people. That's it. That's why I'm in this seat, because I care about my town. I won by 82% because people know and they saw me doing the work.
So, when you, so let's talk about, because I've read different stories and I'm trying to understand.
Okay. So he's throwing her a bone here by not going right back after her line of answering, after his line of questioning. He is like, okay, yeah, that makes your response made no sense at all. But, okay. All right. He is not believing her one bit, as he shouldn't, because he's done his research as well. And he's got to show that he needs to make sure has credibility. And at this point in time, his guest is lacking all credibility.
Understanding what they mean. So let's talk about a meeting. Your critics say you came dressed up as Nino Brown playing Bitch Better Have My Money. Did that happen?
Oh, wow. Okay, so let me clear that up so we can understand. I did not come as Nino Brown. I did a scene from Martin. One thing
Okay. You know what? We're just going to play this out and we'll look at it.
I'm young. So I try to make sure I reach my young voter.
You the scene from Martin, where? Was this at Dolton or Thornton Township?
This is Dolton. This is all of the village, really.
Okay, got it.
All the smoke and the heat coming from my mayoral seat, but they mix the two because people don't understand the difference between the two. But I did come as a scene from Martin. I even made fun about it and did a skit and posted it on my TikTok just to show people my sense of humor side. Because at the end of the day, you got to meet the voters where they are. You got to meet the youth where they are. And that it did work. People pay attention to the meetings. They come in, they check out and see what's going on. And just give you a little more clarity of it. We had an election. And I was being funny about it. Somebody knows something, meaning somebody knew where the votes went. During the election, the night of the election, we won, meaning one of our candidates. And then come like a week or two later, all of a sudden the votes disappeared. So somebody took all the votes through mail-in ballots. So I went in and I was like, somebody knows something. That's all it was. And it was before my meeting, not during my meeting. And you can watch it, you'll see it was before. Everybody laughing, even the people that's into it with me. Everybody laughed, because that's all it was. It was just a sense of humor, and they took it and flipped it into this big thing that you see. So I want to set the record straight. I don't have a foundation. No, Tiff, you do have a foundation. All right, so let's go in order. Here is the supermayor dressed up as Nino Brown. I don't know what she's talking about, Martin. I think she's kind of doing a dodge and redirect here, right? She had to come up with something, because when you look at that versus that, I am a huge New Jack City fan. I love that movie. I thought it was great. It was a well done movie. Pookie, Chris Rock. I mean, Wesley Snipes. It was a great movie. And does she look like, this is the main character, Nino Brown, Wesley Snipes. Does she look like him? I'm going to go with yes. So if this is trying to be funny, maybe she was trying to be funny. Maybe there's a scene from, show Martin that I'm not familiar with. Okay, maybe. But the overall idea here was she dressed up like that. And then she had a song by Rihanna, which is Bitch, Show Me My Money. And so you're like, okay, that's not really funny. I guess it kind of could be, but she's literally has the DJ come in and play the music at a board meeting, which is not all that funny. But again, that's just me. Maybe this is hilarious. I think it's hilarious from the standpoint of she got called out for looking like Nino Brown. And if you want to look like Nino Brown, hey, that's your call. Hey, if you want to associate with a gangster thug, that's your call. If that's who you emulate, all right, okay. Let's just lay it on the line and we'll go down that road. But the title on this one, Illinois mayor is now accused of shutting down businesses that refuse to donate to her campaign and blasting Rihanna's
Biatch better have my money at board meetings after being slammed for using city money to fund her glamorous looks. All right. Yep. So we know all this story, right? Here's the other one. This is entertaining from the standpoint of this is on Tiffany Henyard's foundation.
Thank you for just another opportunity to come together for an incredible cause, and that is to eradicate breast cancer, oh God. Lord, I pray that during this walk, that we will feel your presence.
This is currently online.
We trust that you, the best is yet to come. We pray for those who have lost loved ones.
Remember, Stan, I was just riding a bike. This is that walkathon. All the walkathon stuff that you see here is from that. This is Tiffany Cares. She's all over this. This is a minute and 45 of Tiff just branding the F out of the Tiffany Cares Foundation, which she set up and then funded from the Township of Thornton with the donation, and then just literally did this walkathon and did this, big media deal. And they had, let's just watch it.
The cares, oh God, we pray that through our efforts we will see this healing. In Jesus' name we pray that all of God's children say amen. Amen.
I just want people to know that, hey, Tiffany Cares Foundation is here. We will help anybody in need. It's not only just for Thornton Township. It's not only just for Dolton, but it's for the state of Illinois. So I just want to give them some kind of resources. I know we got Susan G. Komen, I got that. But you're going to get so many resources from each foundation. But there's no foundation in the state of Illinois moving like we moving and shaking and moving like we doing. Right? Thanks.
All right. Knowing that she went on this show right here and says,
record straight, I don't have a foundation. I am a supporter of anybody that's struggling with cancer. My mom had breast cancer, and I'm
yeah, wild stuff, right? I mean, it's not just shocking. It's wildly unbelievable. Because all the information you need to know is out there, right? It's there, and it happened. And it's now going in this direction where I think so much nonsense has taken place that people like Carmen Carlile are coming out and making these statements. So now we're going to circle back to the beginning here. Tiffany Henyard has enjoyed near unanimous support on the Thornton Township board, but that's now changing following a series of WGN Investigate reports on her spending. Yeah, Ben Bradley's done a great job on this, as has Dane Placco, as has reporter from NBC. I can't remember her name right now, but they've done a great job of uncovering a whole bunch of these storylines. So today, this is the email that Carmen Carlile sent to Ben Bradley. Today, I'm breaking my silence and speaking out against Thornton Township Supervisor and Mayor of Dolton, Tiffany Henyard, who I believe is engaged in unethical and predatory behavior throughout her tenure. Trustee Carmen Carlile wrote in an email statement to WGN. For the past 2 years, Henyard has manipulated employees, vendors, and residents using her position to increase her influence, all while projecting a false image of success, funded by the hardworking taxpayers of Thornton Township and the village of Dolton. Now, you might think, okay, so what? So somebody's sitting on the board, another one of the township, folks is complaining. But the Supermayor is losing all of the people that have at one time supported her. And they are coming out in a fashion like this, where they're basically stating, yeah, because of this, and this is why I no longer support her. In the special meeting that we watched, she said, hey, you came to my house and told me that you wanted me to say something other than the truth. which is that ridiculous video we just saw of Tiffany Henyard just plastered all over the PR campaign for her Tiffany Cares Foundation. So you either got a foundation or you don't. You know what I mean? I mean, and it's so basic. So Tiffany goes on, that big show, Roland Martin, and basically right out of the gate, just, denies, lies that she has anything to do with this foundation. And the rest of us are sitting back going, this isn't really all that difficult to disprove what you're saying. It's like she believes she's talking to children who we can't think for ourselves and we can't do our own research. And it literally takes about half an hour to crank through all the videos that I've shown you here. And you just look at it and go, oh, yeah, all right. Well, but we've known this, right? We've known this. We've known this to be true. The fact that Tiffany Henyard is leaving not only the village of Dolton, but the township of Thornton in directions that she shouldn't be. And now, the cracks are spreading and her foundation is crumbling, and this is happening. Carlile acknowledged at a recent board meeting that she rarely raised questions about lavish trips and other spending charged to township taxpayers. I trusted the administration. That's when my ears perked up when I watched this. I think did we live stream this one? We might have live streamed this one. I trusted the administration, Carlile said on August 15th while looking at Supervisor Henyard. Carlile and the other township trustees then voted to put new restrictions on spending for special events and access to credit cards. So what's happening is the township of Thornton is looking at the village of Dolton, which just had the report come out around this time from Mayor Lori Lightfoot, former Mayor Lori Lightfoot. And she basically just said, all right, all kinds of money is being spent, big charges on city credit cards to Amazon. I mean, just millions of dollars worth of checks not being delivered to the vendors that are owed the checks, all kinds of financial shenanigans, right? You've got shenanigans for days. And that came up. And so now the township of Thornton is looking over at Dolton and going, ooh, yeah, we need to lock down some of our own finances. And I think they went a little too far. Like the township had 8 credit cards or 9 credit cards and they wanted to cut it down to 1. So they're doing a big, huge swing the other way, right? But they'll work it out. They'll figure it out. I am standing up. This is Carmen Carlile's statement again. I am standing up not just for myself, but for others who have been affected by what I see as Henyard's abusive leadership. Carlile's statement said, I believe there are many more victims who have been retaliated against, fired, or lied to by Henyard, but have yet to speak out. Henyard ridiculed Carlile's newfound challenge at an August meeting. I think I'm going to get you a new nickname, Lion Carlile, Henyard said in front of a packed audience. I'm tired of everyone in here. There always has to be a show. You know what? I'm going to push back on that a little bit. The show is the Supermayor, and the show is the inability for the Supermayor to stay on track and answer anything with any degree of honesty. She just doesn't. You can see how she spins everything. I mean, I would say she does a great job of spinning, but her spins have no substance. If you can spin me something and I think there's a question about it, then I'm like, okay, all right, that's, you took the truth and you twisted it a little bit there, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. There's just no benefit of the doubt to what the Supermayor says. Just everywhere she turns, she's, foot in mouth. And, the Cancer Foundation, it's not hers. Somebody else started it. Somebody puts her name on it. It's like there's always has to be a show. And, it's clickbait. All of the news media is clickbait. So she's acting like the victim because it's happening to her when in fact she created it. She started it. I mean, I don't run around looking for news stories in South Chicago. I'm, from Seattle, but if one comes my way, hey, I'm going to run it. And that's what we're doing because it's shenanigans for days, right? There always has to be a show. I'm tired of everyone in here. And, calling her Lion Carlile, this Carmen Carlile does not outwardly seem like somebody who is, a liar. She just doesn't. And from what I've read and what I've seen from her, she seems like she's got a decent head on her shoulders. And now she's kind of coming up with, hey, because of this, this, and this is where I sit. And this is the statement we're reading now. In January, WGN Investigated reported Henyard and her entourage racked up $67,000 in charges for trips to Portland, Austin, Atlanta, and New York City in a 5-month span. Carlile was on at least one of the trips, along with other trustees and township officials. They did have some official business somewhere in there. I'm not really sure. I looked at a bunch of these trips and I was like, okay. I mean, some of them were for like business development and, or they were on a Thornton Township sponsored trip. And it was a meeting of the mayors. Well, she's not mayor of Thornton. So you had a bunch of stuff like that where you're like, what are we doing here? What have we got going on here? Because this makes no sense. But that's also how you write 589 checks as of the time of Lori Lightfoot's report, 589 checks covering $6.1 million of outstanding invoices that have not been paid. And then you just chuck them in a drawer somewhere, and you don't deliver them to the people who've earned that money. So that's kind of, that's just a tiny example of the financial mismanagement that's been going on. In Atlanta, the group stayed at the Four Seasons and brought home a bill of $9,347. However, WGN Investigates has learned the township spending is just the tip of the iceberg. So beyond today, watch WGN News at 9 p.m. Tuesday to see credit card charges billed to Dolton taxpayers that Henyard's administration fought to keep hidden. So tonight, 9 o'clock Chicago time, 7 o'clock my time here in Seattle, WGN will have yet another breaking story. And we just keep having these stories going on and on and on, don't we? It's wild stuff. Now, one of the other thoughts is there's going to be an arrest here pretty soon. I mean, everybody's tuning into this stuff. You might be tuning into this stuff because you're like, are we just one step closer to seeing some arrests, seeing some indictments? At some point in time, there's going to have to be, there's liability letting the supermayor continue to do what she's doing, because we've got a pretty clear idea of how far upside down the village of Dolton is financially right now. I mean, they're hosed. They do not have a huge budget. They're upside down millions of dollars. And we don't really know the true extent to, how far upside down their finances are, how far out of whack their budget are, how many millions of dollars have not been paid, how many more lawsuits are coming. One of the interesting things over the last couple of meetings that the supermayor has been involved with is she's had the attorney. You saw in this video here, you saw our white guy, and I saw you guys making fun of him in the live chat. Because this guy, he literally sits there and he pretends that he's not there, right? He sits there and he's like that. He's just hoping that he'll disappear. He'll maybe disappear into thin air because he doesn't want to be there. And, he gets asked questions and he's like, yeah, I don't think I want to answer that. Somebody offers him a microphone. No, I'm not going to talk. But the supermayor now has either a defense attorney or Thornton Township attorney. And she is claiming that the reason he's here at this meeting, here we are. This is our guy. The reason he's there is because he might be involved in a court case sometime this week. Yeah. Okay. So there's hints of stuff to come. There's hints of, hey, there's going to be some legal stuff. And there is. When you've had the FBI already come in and, basically shotgun requests for information from just about everybody involved in Village of Dolton and Township of Thornton, something's coming down. Stuff is coming down. And the whole deal with with Deputy Chief Lacey Lewis, I mean, that whole thing is so convoluted that at some point in time, somebody's going to have to step in and take over for the village, because you've got a supermayor that's gone absolutely sideways in believing that, she's, rehiring her police chief and checks aren't going out, lawsuits just coming in and out. One of the more interesting things that I always kind of dwell on the small details. Lawyers dwell on small details, right? But I'm an appraiser by background. And so a lot of what I look for are the small little clues that add up to the big picture, because people are always lying to you. They're always lying to you. And so some of the things that I have seen are, you've got these attorneys involved, and there's so many lawsuits going on that the errors and omissions insurance, who cares? Sean, why are we talking about errors and omissions insurance? Why are we talking about that? Because it was one of the main factors of Lori Lightfoot's report that indicated this is one of those expenses. It's not only overspending, but this is one of those expenses that has risen substantially, tripled in price. The Village of Dolton's errors and omissions insurance, their liability insurance, has tripled because they've had so many lawsuits against them. And so now, between attorneys' bills and lawsuit expenses and their insurance, which is more than tripled, I think it's tripled, went from like $1,000 I can't remember what it was. The ratio was 1 to 3, however that works out. But the numbers were just like, okay, that's because they're getting sued all the time. So at some point in time, you got to stop this bleeding, and you got to lock things down. And I don't know how that's going to go. I mean, this has happened in other, communities. Obviously, this has happened over time, years and years and years. But this one is so blatant. It's so blatant. Yep. No, I didn't have a charity. I got no charity. Somebody else is just, there's always a show, and, where I'm clickbait, the victim. But in reality, she's pushed all of this stuff out there. This is on her. This is on her. And we're just watching. And we're literally just watching that train wreck. You know what I mean? Just, it's going to crash and burn at some point in time. But when's it going to be? So we've got all the data. I mean, we've got all the alleged data. We don't have anything. We don't have anything concrete, because Lori Lightfoot's report is just that, a report put together by Lori Lightfoot that came up with some very damning information. But at the end of the day, she's not a cop. She's not an active prosecutor. She's nowhere in the legal system, but she's got a decent, she's got a reputation, I should say, a reputation that allowed her to talk with the people that might not have spoken to somebody else. They want to talk to Lori Lightfoot, for better or for worse. And so Lori Lightfoot, allegedly was able to put together all this information. The information I saw from her, I went through it, as close as you can based on what she's talking about. And I think literally, kind of like this article says here, we are talking about the tip of the iceberg as far as additional charges that are going to come up. I think there's just going to be some absolute barn burners when they get through and kind of go through the actual charges that are, because Lori Lightfoot, one of the huge things about this whole thing is that there's no set of books on the Village of Dolton. There's not one set of books. Lori Lightfoot, all her information came from, on the tail end, interviews with people who would know what's going on, monthly bank statements. And then they've got a CPA firm involved that kind of does these report-ish, but nothing formal. They don't have anything audited. So Lori Lightfoot kind of just threw up, sent up that flare. We got problems here. But everybody has known that. And now we're just kind of waiting for the arrests to come, waiting for something to happen, right? And as it keeps going, like this WGN report that I'm streaming right now, you're just going to have more and more stuff come out, and more people that have been loyal to the Supermayor, to Tiffany Henyard, basically turn on her and say, I'm going to disassociate myself with you because you are literally telling me to lie to the public about your Cares Foundation and you're telling me a bunch of other stuff. And this is why I'm not trusting you, because and I think the way she outlined it was perfect. Thornton Township Trustee Carmen Carlile explains reasons for mistrust of Henyard. And she just, boom, broke it down right there. And so we'll have to see what happens. I mean, that's what we're all waiting for, right? Because we're waiting for something. Because all this information just keeps kind of, it just keeps building on itself, doesn't it? And at some point in time, you're like, all right, something's going to topple. This is going to go sideways sometime. And I think it's got to be soon, because you can't have the supermayor out there just basically running rogue, doing what she's doing with her, we'll call it her administration, but with her cohorts that are just running shenanigan after shenanigan, allegedly, till all this is proven. But it doesn't take a rocket science to, if a real estate guy can figure out some of this stuff, I think anybody can, right? That's where we're at. All right. That is the news for today. We'll see what WGN comes up with tonight. And maybe we do another live stream tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. Thanks so much for being here. Appreciate you attending this live stream. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.